Do you sometimes inexplicably find yourself being in an odd mood when you were okay? Or perhaps do you sometimes find that you are very, very tired after having had a good night's sleep? Do you sometimes perhaps have other unexplained problems? Well, there are lots of possible reasons for them. But what I find helps is to try and eliminate the problems that are the easiest to deal with and eliminate um, when you're dealing with things like this. So I have an example for you. The other day, I got up in the morning, I'd had a good night's sleep, but I felt really, really tired. I was like, I guess I didn't sleep as well as I thought I had because, I was just dragging. And I had a cup of coffee and I thought, okay, that'll fix it. Because, usually the coffee wakes me up and when I'm sleepy or tired. And it had no effect whatsoever. And in fact, by the time I arrived at work an hour and a half later, I was even more tired and I was moving slower. I mean, my feet were, it's just like my feet were made of lead or something. And I just had this general feeling of dis-ease. And I didn't know what was going on. And it wasn't until a couple, maybe 3 hours, no, 2 hours later, that I understood the problem. And the problem actually had given me a hint in the form of lots of flatulence. I mean, I was a lot. And so later, I had to go to the bathroom and it was very urgent. And it turned out it was diarrhea. And I evacuated that stuff and I immediately felt somewhat better. And I realized, because this has happened to me before, that the diarrhea had been adversely affecting my guts to the point that it was making me feel tired and um, not in a good mood. And so this is the first example of something that can cause your mood, your energy levels and such to be off. Just having diarrhea, because you have to keep in mind that the second largest nervous system in your body after the brain is in your guts. And so if there's something disturbing your guts, it's going to be communicated to your brain on a level that you don't consciously understand, and it's not going to be fun. So that's one example. Another example, obviously, would be like if you have a cold or a flu or some other virus like that. That's that's not quite as easy to deal with, but because it lasts longer than diarrhea will, unless, of course, your diarrhea is caused by a parasitic infection, like amoebic dysentery or something like that. But in the case of the cold or the flu, what you'll want to do is make sure you get extra rest. If you have to take a short nap or a long nap during the day, you just don't force yourself to stay up when you're feeling like you need a nap. Also, make sure to eat good food. Don't eat any junk food. Don't eat any fast food. Um, and most importantly of all is keep a positive attitude about the virus being defeated by your immune system. Surprisingly, I have discovered since I started doing this, I guess you could say, regimen of fighting off an illness, that it is very effective in not only reducing how long it takes for me to get well, but also how bad I feel while I'm sick. By having a positive attitude of that I can defeat this virus quickly, it actually works. And when combined with um, adequate sleep and good food, it goes even faster. Now, there are other things that can affect your mood, your tiredness, or energy level, I should say. Um, that includes, for example, having problems with your teeth. Now, you would think, well, they're just teeth, but you're forgetting teeth have nerves running through them, and they're in your head, not too terribly far away from your brain. So you can have symptoms from your bad tooth. Like my wife had a wisdom tooth that had grown in literally sideways. So started up like this, and for some reason it turned like that in her mouth. And so she had to have it pulled, and it was immediate relief. But it can also cause you to feel tired. You can have some pain, obviously, which can get worse and worse. It can give you headaches. It can, because of what you're experiencing, it can adversely affect how your digestive system is behaving. So that's yet another one. Obviously, a knife in the head isn't going to feel good, but it's not going to, you know, knife in the head's going to kill you. So this is not the kind of thing I'm talking about. I don't know why I said that. It's not even funny. Um, but yeah, so obviously, if you aren't eating well and you don't get enough sleep, especially if the bad food you're eating, the junk food and the fast food, is causing you to have diarrhea on a regular basis, or maybe you've got lactose intolerance like me, so you're having diarrhea because you're eating dairy. Um, these can all have a negative impact on your energy and your mood, and it can be pretty debilitating sometimes, actually. There are other reasons, though. Now, one of the reasons that can cause problems is genetics. You could have a gene being expressed in from your DNA that is creating a mental health illness issue for you. Now, this could be just you specifically. It could be a family condition. In my family, there are several mental illnesses that can crop up in us, including depression, social anxiety, general anxiety, OCD, paranoia, and some other ones. So, it's definitely a thing. Um, but, never underestimate the possibility that you could be suffering from mental health issues, and you should seek professional help. Um, and the other thing that can, and I've kind of hinted at this, that can really impact your mood, it can impact your ability to focus, to think logically, and these other things can also do that, is your diet. Now, when you say, well, I'm not on a diet, I say, well, you eat and you drink, therefore you're on a diet. A diet, or your diet, to be more accurate, is what you eat and drink. And if you are in the habit of eating things that are spoiled, or eating things with lots of salt or lots of sugar, these things can affect you. Like the other day, I bought a bag of Bada Beam Bada Boom broad beans that were flavored to review. And so a couple of days after that, I ate the bag of them. And within an hour or so, because of the salt and sugar content of them, I started to feel just mildly unwell. And um, so if you are chronically abusing your body by eating junk food and fast food and highly processed food, you will definitely experience um, mood swings, possibly depression or irritability, aggression, and so on. You will also tend to feel unwell physically. You may not have a lot of energy, and it'll seem like whatever you do, it doesn't help as long as you continue to eat that way, even if it's just like you're eating candy all the time. As another example for you, last year, I was doing my series on chocolate. So I was eating like a bar or two's worth of different chocolates every day, day after day, to go through the review process more rapidly. And after a few months of doing that, I started to notice that I was becoming depressed. I was becoming weepy. It was needless emotional reactions. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Because nothing was going wrong in my life. There was no reason that I could detect for it. And then I was like, well, I have been eating an awful lot of chocolate, and there's an awful lot of sugar in chocolate, even though I was eating dark chocolate. And I said, I'll bet that's what it is. So what I did was I cut way back on the amount of chocolate I was eating per day. So instead of a bar or two of chocolate from different brands, I was eating just maybe 2 to 4 squares of chocolate, probably more like 4 to 6 actually, squares of chocolate per day. Immediately, and I mean like immediately, okay, the problem went away. I stopped being weepy and emotional. It just turned off. Why did it happen in the first place? Because sugar can disrupt various systems in your body. If there's fructose, it'll put pressure on your liver. Your liver can become fatty and eventually develop cirrhosis because of sugar. It can obviously disrupt the pancreas and insulin production. It can lead to having prediabetes or even diabetes. And it has been known to have other effects on the body, including emotional instability. So if you're noticing that your emotions are or have been for maybe even a long time been unstable, the first thing that you should be looking at is food. Are you eating properly, or are you eating the typical crap that so many people eat these days? Too much meat, too much fried food, too much salt, too much sugar, too much processed foods, too much junk food, too much fast food. All of those things are a great way to make yourself seriously ill. And the truth of it is not only the top illnesses in America and United Kingdom and Indonesia and all these other countries that have moved to the king's diet, which is heavy on meat, but with the resulting typical diseases that are caused by eating that way, such as high blood pressure, um, palpitations, heart attacks, stroke, diabetes, metabolic disorder, urticaria, and so many other illnesses that we know about. There is a much longer list than the public is aware of that are almost entirely caused by eating poorly, and it's gotten really bad, in my lifetime. So give some serious consideration and then change your diet. You could save your life. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.